Before we start, I want to mention that you should join our Discord because we do have a $500 giveaway going on our Discord channel. All you have to do is participate in some activities to get some amount of points, and you can be eligible to get some of the rewards. It's self-funded, which means it doesn't matter if you're an iPhone user or an Android user, you can still get the prizes. So join our Discord right now. The link will be in the description of this video so that you can be eligible to get a bunch of free prizes. Hello everyone and welcome to another video of the Sky channel. So this video is about the Surreal Wetlands Guardian Ants, and a lot of people have been asking me to make these videos about these Surreal Wetland Ants, and well, here we have it. So let's start with the first one. This is the white crystal. It is a ranged Guardian Ant, so not frontline, and let's take a look at its skills. So firstly, the basic skills are pretty much the same as the most recent paid ants. For example, skill 1, skill 3 giving 144 defense, skill 4 giving 144 attack, skill 7 giving 120 attack to all guardian squads in the unit, and then skill 6 giving attack, defense, damage, health, and of course the normal attack damage. All fairly straightforward, so we can go straight to the special skills. Skill number 2, and we're going to first read the max level effect. Its squad gains 10% of the frontline squad's attack attribute, and after the frontline guardian squad deals damage 8 times, its squad deals 350% damage to all enemy squads, with a 50% chance to silence them, disabling their combat skill for 1 round. So a lot of amazing things happening in this. So first of all, it gains an extra attack bonus based on how much attack your frontline squad has, and then it deals a ton of damage, 350% to all enemy squads. That's 1050% damage in total after the frontline deals damage 8 times. Now it does also mention that it should be a Guardian Ant in the frontline for this ability, and after releasing this amazing amount of damage, it has a 50% chance of silencing them, disabling their combat skills for 1 round, right? So a ton of damage, potentially silencing them. If you're lucky, you might silence all 3 squads, and of course it is a pretty big hit with the increase in attack and the amount of damage we're talking. If you have it at 0 star, the only difference is that the damage goes down to 300% to all enemy squads, which is still quite high, so it's still 900% damage. Not a huge drop. Okay, so that's skill 2. Let's take a look at skill 5. Has a 75% chance to deal 450% damage to the enemy squad with the highest power, or essentially highest health, and increases its own squad's attack by 50% for 2 rounds, which is stackable. So I really like the chance. 75% is a high chance of doing this damage. The damage itself is high, 450% for something that has such a high chance of releasing. I think that's great. It specifically targets the squad that has the most health, and that is also helpful in a way because if you think about it, normal attacks are going to attack the front line, right? Which means that there's a good chance that the back line is the one that's mostly safe from a lot of these attacks, and hence they might have the highest health. This high amount of damage could target directly the back row, which is amazing. Not just that, it also gives itself a 50% attack bonus, which is stackable, and since it's last 2 rounds, you might actually have a 100% attack bonus thanks to this skill, assuming that you release it every round. So skill 2 giving it some attack, and then skill 5 also giving it some attack, which is of course amazing. That's a lot of attack that just got added up. Now if you have it at 0 star, the chance remains the same, 75%. The damage goes down to 400% instead of 450, which is not a huge drop in my opinion. The attack bonus goes down from 50% to 30%, so it can stack up to 60% instead of 100%. Finally, skill number 8, 60% chance to deal 225% damage to all enemy squads. That's 675% damage in total, but also the skill's damage rate increases by 10% each time it hits an enemy shooter ant squad, and that can stack up to 5 times. So firstly, if the enemy has 3 rows of shooters and you're releasing this, you're attacking shooters 3 times from the get-go. So my assumption is that that's going to count as 3 shooter ant attacks instead of 1. So that's an increase in 30% damage of this skill that you just got in that single hit. And this skill could theoretically be released every single turn. If you are lucky enough that 60%, you could be releasing it every single round. So a reasonable chance, a very high damage, and then the possibility of increasing that damage if you're targeting a shooter, which is really good for you as a guardian and really bad for shooters because then you're talking a lot of damage. This ant is already getting a ton of attack from skill 2 and skill 5, and now it's doing this extra damage to shooters, so this can end up being quite painful for a lot of the shooter users out there. You can stack up to 5 times, so potentially up to 50% extra damage from this skill. If you have it at 0 star, the damage rate goes down to 175% damage to all enemy squads. That's 525% damage in total. Not bad, especially given that 8 star is going to be quite a journey for us, given that Surreal Wetland is yet to begin. So overall, I'd say this is a really nice damage dealer. You can see how it builds on getting a lot of attack from its different skills. You can also see that it does want to have a Guardian Ant in the front line that can release damage a lot of times, right? Because after 8 times, it deals a bunch of damage to the enemy and can also silence them. So you definitely want to have something in the front line that can deal damage several times, right? If you can get it to release damage 8 times in one round, that would be amazing because then you'd be releasing the damage skill and silencing the enemies every single round. The other skills, of course, are pretty nice damage dealers as well. And as you can imagine, the other Guardian Special Ant from the Surreal Wetland does happen to be a frontline ant. Right, so it is a melee ant, Bison Ant, and what you probably want to know is, does it have the ability of releasing damage multiple times? Because if it does, then you're already looking at a great synergy between the two Surreal Wetland Guardian Ants. The basic skills exactly the same, right? It's 144% attack and defense, which you can expect, of course. Skill number 1 the same as well. Skill number 7 is actually giving health of 54% to all Guardian squads in the unit, again in line with the latest paid ants. Skill 6 similar as well. Let's go to the special skills. Skill number 2. During the battle, when the special ant takes damage, there's a 35% chance to trigger a counterattack, dealing 142.5% damage to 2 random enemy squads. So that's 285% damage in total if you hit 2 squads, which is great. And now you can already see how this ant fits in with the other ant that we're talking about, right? So every time you get hit, you have a possibility of doing a counterattack. Now, given that it's in the front line, it's actually going to get hit a bunch of times, especially due to normal attacks. And if the enemy is a shooter, let's say they're using the Barrenland meta shooter squad, which has the ability of doing a ton of normal attacks, this ant has the ability to do a lot of counterattacks to them within the same round. At the same time, the Surreal Wetland ants also have the ability of doing more normal attacks, though not as much as the Barrenland meta. And of course, that can be fairly helpful. Anytime you're dealing with enemies that do damage a bunch of times to you, you have the ability to counter. And remember, if you do damage 8 times, the white crystal can take advantage of that and deal a lot of damage to the enemies. So of course, that is fairly helpful. Now, if you have it at 0 star, the chance goes down to 30% instead of 35%, and the damage becomes 112.5% to 2 squads, which is 225% in total. Skill number 5, 60% chance to trigger, reduces the damage taken by its squad by 35% and helps one random friendly squad take 30% of the skill damage that the squad receives, lasting for 2 rounds. Now that's a little poorly written, but I think what they mean is that it actually takes away 30% of the skill damage that another squad was taking, and it takes it itself, which is good because if it takes damage, it has the ability to counterattack as well. So I can see that working out pretty nicely for it. And the reduction in damage by 35% allows it to live longer, which is definitely helpful for a frontline ant. And this skill lasts for 2 rounds, so that means that after releasing it, the damage taken by its squad should be reduced by 35% for 2 rounds, possibly, and also taking away 30% damage from another friendly squad, and taking it itself should also theoretically last for 2 rounds. If you have it at 0 star, instead of 60%, it goes down to 50%. So not bad, this is a nice skill. It's helping itself live longer and also helping your heavy hitters last longer by taking away some of the damage that they would have received and taking it yourself, and also the chance of doing a counterattack due to that small amount of damage that you took. So nice skill. Finally, skill number 8. In the 2nd, 4th, and 6th rounds, all of our Guardian squad's skill damage rate increases by 30%. Additionally, when dealing damage, they have a 60% chance to trigger a healing effect with the healing ratio of 120% 30% up to 3 times per round. So that's really cool. Round 2, 4, and 6, you get an extra 30% damage rate to your skills. And if you're using heavy hitters like the other Surreal Wetland Guardian Ant, that can help you do a lot more damage. We already saw that ant does do a lot of damage. With this extra 30% damage, it would be even deadlier. And not just that, it actually is giving the ability to heal yourself by reasonably high healing ratio, 120%, up to 3 times per round. So that's 360% healing that you could get if you deal damage a bunch of times. If you have it at 0 star, the damage rate goes down to 20%, and the chance to trigger the healing goes down to 50%. Not that bad either, especially given that it's going to be a long time before anyone of us gets these ants to 8 star. So you can see the synergy there with the other Surreal Wetland Ant. Number 1, the counter-attack ability does work well with the ability of the white crystal, that after the frontline does damage 8 times, it can release a really nice hit on the enemy's squads and also potentially silencing them, which is amazing because it does significantly impact the enemy's ability to do damage. Not just that, it also does reduce the damage that you take and also helps the other friendly squads in the unit live a little bit longer by taking away some of the skill damage that they would have otherwise received, as well as giving some healing and extra damage to all squads, which is quite helpful as well. Now, when talking about which ants would probably go well with those Surreal Wetland Ants, one of them that comes to mind is MC, because of its ability to give a bunch of healing, which is nice, allowing your squads to live longer. You already have a pretty nice damage dealer, which is the white crystal, so this ant giving a bunch of healing, allowing your squads to live longer, can be fairly helpful. Not just that, it does also have the ability that every time Guardian squads receive damage 9 times, it actually gives a shield, making it immune to the next damage taken and also dealing damage to the attacker, which is nice because, well, you live longer, you're able to do more damage because you survive longer. So MC can be a nice one to have as well, though I'd also like to see how the Iron Elephant could work well with it, right? So the front line can be the one that allows you to live longer, while at the back you have the white crystal and then the Iron Elephant. So 2 very heavy hitters. I can see that working really well as well, especially given the 8th skill of the Bison Ant, which increases the skill damage rate of all of our squads by 30%. We all know that the Iron Elephant is a really heavy hitter, and this can definitely help it do a lot more damage as well. So those are the 2 possibilities that I'm thinking might work really well with the Surreal Wetland Ants. And I guess once the Surreal Wetland starts and people start getting these ants, they'll start testing them and we'll see which one actually works best. Or maybe they'll release another paid ant that might work really well with both of these. And since I still have you here, I do want you to know that starting January, you can get between 10 to 35% bonus on in-game purchases in the Ants Underground Kingdom. The promo codes are not active right now, but starting January they will be, so you can start gaining a bunch of amazing bonuses. The steps are quite simple. All you need to do is follow the video that I'm linking to this video, and you can also click that button that's going to appear at the top right of your screen to go to that video. The latest promo code is going to be in the name of that video, so you will know which promo code to use to get these amazing bonuses. And as the promo code changes, I'll update the title of that video. A lot of other people are taking advantage of this. Feel free to check it out. If you have any questions, you can join our Discord and I can guide you through the process as well. Stay tuned for the Carrier Ants video as well, and if you haven't already watched the shooter one, do watch that as well. Subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any notifications, and join our Discord because I do post the videos over there as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.